The invisible conspiracy against Job. Every other conspiracy we have covered involved human beings, brothers, kings, priests, politicians, people with agendas you could trace if you looked hard enough, people operating inside systems you could at least partially see. But this one is different, completely different, because Job never knew. While Job was living righteously, raising his family, worshiping God faithfully, a conversation was happening somewhere he had absolutely no access to and no awareness of. Job 1:6 says, "There was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them." A heavenly assembly, and Satan had been watching Job, studying him, tracking him, conducting surveillance on a righteous man from a vantage point Job couldn't see and didn't know existed. When God pointed to Job in Job 1:8, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil?" Satan's response revealed the entire framework of what was about to be constructed against Job's life. Job 1:9-10 records, Satan's argument, "Does Job fear God for no reason? Have you not put a hedge around him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land." The accusation was surgical. "Remove the blessing," Satan argued, and Job would curse God to his face, and God allowed the test. But Job 1:12 establishes something that changes everything about how this conspiracy should be understood. "Behold, all that he has is in your hand. Only against him do not stretch out your hand." A boundary, fixed, immovable. Even at the highest level of spiritual reality, the conspiracy against Job operated inside a ceiling God had already set before the first blow ever landed. Job lost his wealth in a single day, then his children, then his health. He sat in Job 2:8, scraping his sores with a piece of broken pottery, surrounded by friends who assumed in Job 4:7 that whoever perished being innocent, convinced that his suffering was evidence of hidden sin. Nobody in that moment knew about the conversation in heaven. Not Job, not his friends, not even the adversary fully understood what God was doing through it. And yet Job 1:22 records something remarkable about Job in the middle of it all. In all this, Job did not sin or charge God with wrong. The most invisible, cosmic, spiritually sophisticated conspiracy ever constructed. And it still couldn't move Job off his foundation, because the same God who set the boundary before the test began, never once left the room.